Japan, often hailed as one of the most advanced and developed nations on Earth, is today facing an invisible threat so serious it could lead to its disappearance from the world map. A country known for its discipline, cutting-edge technology, and economic strength is now experiencing a deep and dangerous population crisis. It may be hard to believe, but Japan is currently going through one of the toughest times in its modern history. Fewer people are getting married, birth rates are rapidly declining, and the number of deaths has nearly doubled the number of births. Adding to this, many young people, overwhelmed by intense work pressure, are facing severe mental health challenges, sometimes leading to tragic outcomes. If this trend continues and no solid solutions are found, it's not far-fetched to say that Japan may slowly fade away, because a country simply cannot run without its people. Let's explore why the entire world is beginning to talk about this crisis. Let's take a look at Elon Musk's tweet from February, where he warned that if nothing changes, Japan is on the path to disappearing. For those unfamiliar with the issue, this sounds shocking. After all, Japan is not at war, there's no outbreak of disease, no pandemic, and its economy isn't in complete collapse. So what's threatening Japan's future? The answer is surprisingly simple: its own people. Yes, Japanese citizens are no longer choosing marriage. They're not having children, and many young people, crushed under the weight of non-stop work and societal pressure, are mentally exhausted. As a result, after the younger generation disappears from the workforce, only the elderly will be left behind. This is already happening. Today, Japan has the highest elderly population in the world. About 30% of the entire country is now made up of senior citizens, and over 20 million of them are above the age of 75. This is why Japan is often referred to now as the land of the elderly. And no, this didn't happen overnight. Japan's population decline has been ongoing for over 15 years. In 2009, the total population stood at 128 million. As of 2024, it's down to around 120 million. That's 8 million people gone in just 15 years. What's even more worrying is that the trend shows no sign of slowing. Deaths outnumber births by nearly 2 to 1. In early 2024, around 1.6 million people passed away, while only 750,000 babies were born. This isn't just a population dip, it's a national emergency. Government data predicts that if the current pace continues, Japan's population could drop to just 100 million by 2050. And that's only if there are no natural disasters, no large-scale events, and the mental health situation remains stable. If not, the numbers could fall even lower. Tokyo's fertility rate has now dropped to just 0.9, one of the lowest in the world. That means the average woman in Japan is having fewer than one child, far below the replacement rate needed to maintain a stable population. In 2006, only 500,000 marriages took place in the entire country, the lowest number ever recorded. And this number continues to fall. One of the biggest reasons behind this is Japan's intense and often toxic work culture. We all know how hardworking Japanese people are, but due to a shrinking labor force, employees are forced to work unpaid overtime, often putting in up to 12-hour shifts daily. With this kind of lifestyle, many feel they don't have time for relationships, let alone raising children. Raising a child in Japan is also extremely expensive, from education to daily needs. The cost is too high for most families. Japanese education costs, in particular, are known to be among the highest globally. And with stagnant wages, many simply can't afford to raise a child, even if they wanted to. There's even a forest in Japan that's infamous worldwide for being a symbol of emotional breakdowns. People struggling with work pressure and isolation sometimes visit this forest during moments of severe despair. That's how serious the situation is. Students, too, are affected. Failing in exams is often seen as a deep shame, and some students, unable to handle the pressure, fall into depression. Despite Japan being a modern, high-tech society, bullying is still a major issue in schools, leaving many young people emotionally wounded. What's even more tragic is how isolated the average person in Japan feels. Unlike in some cultures where people socialize and share their problems, in Japan, people are highly private. They keep to themselves and avoid interfering in others' matters. This often results in individuals feeling alone and unsupported, even in times of distress. Imagine a country so advanced, so disciplined, but where people feel so emotionally isolated that it's affecting the very future of the nation. And here's the ironic twist. The same work ethic that helped Japan rise from the ashes of World War II is now pushing it to the brink. After the nuclear bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan rebuilt itself through sheer hard work, eventually becoming the world's third-largest economy. But now that very culture of overwork is contributing to its decline. Fewer marriages, fewer children, more aging citizens. That's the core of the crisis. Japan is also economically struggling. The country now carries a national debt of $9.2 trillion, one of the highest in the world. Back in 2011, after the devastating tsunami, Japan's economy stood at $6.2 trillion. By 2025, it shrunk to just $4.2 trillion and continues to decline. To make things worse, China has now begun producing cheaper technology and exporting it globally. Where Japan once led the tech industry, China is now selling similar products at lower prices, significantly affecting Japan's exports and GDP. Another critical factor is immigration. Unlike Western countries, Japan has a strict immigration policy. It's difficult for foreigners to integrate due to cultural and language barriers. As a result, Japan lacks a foreign labor force to fill its workforce gaps, making its population crisis even worse. But to be fair, the Japanese government isn't sitting idle. Authorities are actively trying to understand why people aren't getting married. Recently, they even began offering 500,000 yen, approximate $3,500 per child, to encourage families to grow. The government is also trying to end unpaid overtime, reduce work pressure, and improve work-life balance. Clearly, they are taking the issue seriously and want to fix it before it's too late. But here's something even more alarming. Japan isn't the only country facing this crisis. South Korea, Italy, Germany, the UK, and even Iceland are seeing similar trends of falling birth rates and work-related stress. However, Japan's case is more urgent and visible. At least in Japan, people feel their government is trying. In many other countries, people are overwhelmed by inflation, joblessness, and rising utility costs. But their governments seem to do nothing in return. And that perhaps is the most painful truth. A prosperous country can fall not only from war or disaster, but also from neglect, overwork, and emotional isolation. What do you think about Japan's crisis? Could other nations be heading in the same direction? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.